The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
All right, well, here's the deal. So when I was on Peter's show, I said, look, I'm going to release a couple of pieces of information. And people have speculated on these, but Mike Zullo has never released this information anywhere at any time, not even on my show. So I released them on Peter Boyle's show. Number one, and for my audience, you're going to want to know this, Mike Zullo has now said publicly that Loretta Fuddy was not the forger. Now, for years, people have speculated, but Mike Zullo now, and I'm not allowed to say what kind of evidence they have, but the bottom line is she was not the forger of this document. They know who forged the document. All right, Loretta Fuddy was not the one. Now, when I said that on Boyle's show, he said, "Oh, I knew that. Tell me something new." I said, "How did you know that, Peter?" "Well, I knew that." No, you didn't. You might have speculated it, but you didn't hear it from the only person in the world that has the forensic documented evidence that she did not do it. So he didn't. But, buffoonery. Peter Boyles didn't know it. Sheer buffoonery. The second thing I told them, of course, is what I just said, that Mike Zullo now knows who the forger is. And that's huge news. Even on my program, Mike Zullo has never gone so far to say that he knows who the forger is. He said, we're closing in, we think we know, we've got some good leads, but now he's saying publicly, and I released it on the Peter Boyle show, that they now know. All right? The other thing was this John Brennan thing. They'd been putting my name in there. Now, that's where the potential legal problems are going to come and other things. There are many other things, and we don't have enough time to go through it, but Brian Riley, Lawrence Sullivan, Peter Boyles, there may be, and I could be wrong about this, but there may be some pretty tough legal repercussions. Because on public airwaves, Peter Boyles didn't speculate, didn't say, I think, and I could be corrected. What he said was, Carl Gallups said, on behalf of Mike Zullo, that the CIA director, John Brennan, was involved in the forgery of the document. Number one, he will find, nor anyone will find, any audio evidence, video evidence, or written evidence of me ever saying that anywhere to anybody at any time. And when the caller said, really? Gallup said that? He said, I kid you not. He publicly declared over KNUS radio waves that I accused the CIA director of forging Obama's birthday. I've never said that. By the way, neither has Zullo or Arpaio. So there's some real potential legal problems there. Plus other things like that were said by Sellon and this Brian Riley fellow. So anyway, folks, you go to carlgallops.com, go down under special features, click on the link, the Peter Boyles debacle, KNUS. It'll take you to a page where my exclusive interview I did with Post and Email is there. All three videos, the programs where I was on, plus the video montage made of me saying, you said this, they said, no, we didn't, and then you'll hear the audio where they said it. So you're going to want to click on all of that. Very interesting stuff. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you folks this little bit of exclusive information. Then Dennis and I are going to go into what we want to go into that I was going to give on Peter Boyle's show. Now, this is interesting. This is just interesting. And it was to make a point, but Zullo gave me permission to release this to the world. And you guys are going to, you're going to enjoy this. And it was going to be released as an example of what happens when you take speculation and call it evidence. Because these guys were on the radio saying, we've got this evidence, we've got that evidence, we've got this evidence, we know this, we know that. And here's an example. And Zullo gave me permission to release this. For several years, people have been talking about on the internet these supposed pictures of Obama's mother in the nude. Okay, and they were equating that with what's his name? Oh gosh, I can't even remember now. I'll think of it in just a moment. That the radical communist dude that was also into pornography back in those days.
It's sick.
I know, but these pictures came out several years ago with Obama's mother as a young mother supposedly in the nude. Okay. They were all over the internet. People were speculating that this was her. Yes. Oh, Marshall Davis, Frank Marshall Davis. Thank you. Mallory just saved me. Thank you. We all know that name. It just slipped my mind. Thank you, Mallory. Frank Marshall Davis. All right, now watch. Zulo has been sitting on this for several years and has not released it publicly, but he gave me permission to release this. So Zulo has real pictures of Obama's mother, college records, etc. He's got pictures. He's got those pictures, all right? So he took those pictures and that nude picture to the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, forensic reconstruction expert. All right, this guy is an expert witness, certified to testify in courts all over, expert witness in forensic reconstruction. He ran all of his tests, his forensic test on the pictures, et cetera, and he came back to Mike Zulo and he said, short of DNA evidence to prove me wrong, after all of the tests, using all my expertise and forensics, the woman in the nude photo is not Obama's mother. Now, folks, I mean, and I was going to release that on Boyle's show. Now, there are some people out there listening to this going, oh my gosh, really? Yes, really. Now, but here's the deal. Let's say we find out later it really is her, okay? Let's say this forensic expert was wrong. But here's the deal. Here's the purpose of releasing that Mike Zulo was trying to educate people on. For years, people have been referring to that nude photo as evidence. Okay.
Evidence of what?
Exactly. Thank you. But here's the deal. Nothing is evidence unless it's vetted, verified, forensically examined, scrutinized, and ready for courtroom scrutiny. Until it's to that point, it's not evidence. It's speculation. So what happens when Mike Zulo runs all of these forensics or has the forensics expert do it, and the forensic expert comes back and says, look, if I'm called on to testify in court, I have to say this isn't her. It's a good look-alike. It's somebody who looks very close to how she would have looked at that age, but it's not her. And he gave the reasons. He said, look, the ears don't even match. He said, ears are like fingerprints. No two ear sets are alike. And a person's ears are like fingerprints. They don't change. And now, as we get older, they can get a little larger, etc. But there's certain characteristics of the ears that don't change. He said, that's just one example. He said, but it is not her. He said, if I'm called on to testify, I'm going to have to go to court and say, this is not her. So what Mike Zulo is trying to help these speculators understand, they've been out there speculating for years. Yeah, look at those nude photos of Obama's mother. And Mike Zulo is sitting back listening to this speculation, knowing that he has submitted it to a leading expert who has run all the forensics and said, it's not her. It's photoshopped, it's a fake, it's someone else, but it's not her. It is not her. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. I mean, so there's just an example of these speculators. We've got this evidence. And Mike Zulo has run the forensics. He's got the witnesses. He's got the documentation. He's got affidavits from digital document experts, etc. And Mike Zulo knows that a lot of these things that people are declaring as fact not only are not fact, but they would not hold up to courtroom scrutiny. And a lot of these cop wannabes, investigator wannabes, expert wannabes, Peter Boyles, Lawrence Sellin, Brian Riley, wannabes, don't know what they're talking about in a lot of this stuff. Now, again, they're free to speculate, but do not call yourself an expert when the real experts have the real evidence, and just because they're not talking about it every day over the airwaves doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. There's an example. Just an example. Just a little thing. But anyway, Dennis, see, you're just about...
No. I'm listening, and Peter Boyle. For the longest time in this talk, I thought you were talking about the dad on Everybody Loves Raymond.
Everybody Loves Raymond, I know. No.
I was like, wait, he's been dead.
Yeah, no, that's not him. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not him.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm sorry. I'm just not with all
that's
these
good.
talk show guys.
I know.
Who just fill the air with nonsense.
I know.
But I appreciate you being the hound dog that they go after.
Well, and isn't that so odd? I mean, I don't go out and... In fact, I tell people, look, I'm not an official spokesperson for Zulo. Zulo doesn't call me up and give me assignments to go speak for him. But he does tell me what I'm allowed to say based upon what I know. And when I do interviews, I always say, look, I'm not his official spokesperson. I can be corrected. Zulo can come on here and say, no, Carl got that wrong. But I do interviews from coast to coast. People call me and say, look, we know you talk to Zulo every day. What's the latest? And I tell them. And factually, I don't lie. I don't deceive. I don't speculate. I tell them what Zulo has told me. And I have often said, Dennis, and Zulo knows this. He's been on my show. I've said, look, if I find out Zulo's lying to me, I'll tell the world about that.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.